Let's bring in Rich Greenfield of Lightshed Partners. Rich, good to see you.
Thanks for having me, Melissa.
How do they measure receptivity? Because when I heard Julia's report, all I could think about is how impressionable the TikTok audience is just because it's younger.
Well, I mean, actually, I think the TikTok audience actually is a lot wider than you think. I don't know about you, but I think, it's a fun experience. I mean, if you go on TikTok, you don't have to follow anyone. You don't have to know anyone. You just start using it, and it just becomes this like great fun experience of just scrolling through, really swiping through videos. And the more you swipe, it just seems to learn. The algorithm is sort of magical, learns what you like, and actually just gives you more entertainment. And it really has blown up. I mean, it has surpassed, in terms of time spent. I mean, people are spending well over an hour a day on TikTok. It's just a fun place to be. And I think, to your point on brands, or the question that Julia was sort of talking about in terms of brands as well, brands want to be where eyeballs are. So if consumers around the world are spending more time on TikTok, brands have to be there. And I think the most important or most powerful part of TikTok is that they've trained advertisers, don't just put your 30-second spot. Don't just take a commercial from TV or from radio, whatever. Don't just put that same type of copy onto TikTok. Really create TikToks, like really think about how you leverage the platform and create organic content. And that sort of idea of making TikToks yourself as a brand has really resonated with consumers. And I think it's why receptivity to ads has been so positive.
So who's losing out? I mean, if TikTok is winning, if people are spending an hour a day on TikTok, where are they taking that time from?
I mean, it's probably not a shocker to you in terms of like what's happening to the overall kind of television universe. But, we've seen for a while now, right? Time spent on TV is shrinking. You were just talking, earlier about, the growth of Netflix and sort of Seinfeld coming to Netflix, right? Time spent watching TV is certainly shifting. Time spent on mobile has exploded. Time spent on gaming has exploded. I think, the losers are a lot of the legacy platforms. Radio is obviously losing. TV is clearly down sharply over the last decade. But I think, when you think about TikTok, they're one of a number of companies. TikTok is doing amazing. Snapchat's doing amazing. You're obviously seeing Twitter surge. You've seen the growth of Instagram and Facebook over the last few years. It's not like there's one winner. I mean, I wouldn't put TikTok as like TikTok's winning, so Facebook is losing. That would be a misread. I think the reality is the category is taking share from legacy media behavior as consumers move from sort of linear TV over towards mobile entertainment and mobile content.
Tim, so death of linear TV, more engagement, more digital ad dollars going around the space. What is it about TikTok? And, I've seen some of the numbers on their top view, where, you have a chance to hit their homepage as a B2B or an advertiser of some kind. Help us understand what is unique about this format that they can provide to advertisers, and why, again, it's been such a high growth area for them.
Well, think about what you have brands doing. Like a brand can create a sound, right? It doesn't even have to be an ad. You can create a sound. And if you put that sound into the right piece of creative, all of a sudden, everyone can start using that sound. I think if you look at like Elf Cosmetics, they used this last year, and all of a sudden that sound went viral. Look at what happened to Olivia Rodrigo. I mean, it was a name a year ago that I'm sure none of you really heard of. I mean, she was in a Disney Channel show, but you hadn't heard of her. Now she's, talking to President Biden at the White House, and she's got the song of the summer and probably the biggest sensation of the year. I think just time and time again, we see how content goes viral on TikTok. It was funny, you brought up the Seinfeld segment. I tweeted about the Seinfeld segment just before I went on air, and saying this is going to have a real cultural impact with Seinfeld now being on Netflix. And someone said in response to my tweet, the response was, you'll know the cultural impact it has by the amount of Seinfeld TikToks that are created the week after it starts airing on Netflix. And I think that sort of just says it all. Like TikTok is sort of where creativity now starts on the internet.
Rich, always good to get your perspective. Appreciate it. Rich Greenfield, Lightshed
Thanks for having
Partners.
me, Melissa.
Steve Grasso, you agree with Rich that it's not the competing platforms that are losing out. It's really TV and the more traditional media.
I think they all tie in together, because you're going to get TV clips that are on all of these different social apps. So they have to be watching them to get these clips on in a lot of ways. But when I look at the charts, Facebook's chart is insane, looks insane in a good way. And Snapchat I'm seeing it more in kids' schools, on teams. That chart is pretty amazing too. It's up 50%. That's only on a year-to-date basis, though, and that one is no one's going to put that in a value bucket, if you will. But I'm starting to really see the base and the leverage that a Snapchat has. Although I do see the TikTok in my house way too often, but I don't think it's at the cost of a Snapchat, and I think Snapchat can go much higher as well.
At the cost of a Facebook, Karen, perhaps, that has a problem? I mean, from the perception of advertisers, more of a problem dealing with problematic content, misinformation on its platform, for instance?
A lot of things you could talk about Facebook having done or misdeeds. I guess it doesn't really seem to matter. It's too powerful. I mean, I think Rich is right. He's not worried about them taking share from each other and leaving them with declining revenues. It's that legacy that, linear TV that has been the donor of advertising dollars to the social media platforms. I'm long Facebook. Google's my biggest position. But I'm starting to wonder, at what point is that story played out already? I mean, if you look at how a Viacom trades, right, it's not trading like there's a lot of growth there, even though there's big revenue numbers. So I'm sort of thinking we're closer to the tail end of that dramatic shift of advertising dollars, and the explosive growth we've seen in Google, which is great. I don't know if it's going to continue.
I mean, if you follow that logic, Guy, then the fight begins amongst these platforms for those dollars, which all of a sudden become limited.
Yeah, and as much as I'd like to be sour on Facebook, I think they've proved themselves that they can withstand the hits that have come in droves over the last couple of years. So, again, I've said it 100 times. There's nothing about it that I like other than the stock, and you can make a very compelling argument that even at current prices, Facebook is a very cheap name in this environment.